Yeah, so we got Frank and
George.
George. Okay, and it's been really great to see you guys because I haven't seen enough visual or visible stuff like this. We're like hungry for it. We're hungry. Okay, so we've been in Harvard today, Harvard Square all day, and we were shooting a little bit in Harvard Yard. And I think I get the point about your point of view. But say a little bit about where it started for you. How quickly, how long ago did you start worrying about fascism? How long ago did you start seeing the signs that were pretty clear in the United States?
You want to take it or should I?
No, but
So-
yeah.
I'm fairly new to RefuseFascism.org.
Yeah.
I first bumped into them at the Boston Common
Okay.
in 2020.
Oh wow.
I just went to protest, to yell and scream about what was going on.
And which thing was it then?
It was
Everything.
Yeah. It was Trump.
It was Trump.
Yeah.
Okay. His
And
first term.
His first term. Yeah. Toward the end of his first term. But Refuse Fascism started in December of 2016, I believe.
Okay.
So with him just about to take office.
Yeah.
And so I went in 2020. I think it was the winter of 2020,
Okay.
and people had these banners.
Yeah.
And they had these signs.
Yeah.
Not exactly this one,
Right.
but they had other signs.
Right.
And thought I'd chat with them, and they said, "You want to hold one of our signs?" I said, "Yeah. I just came to yell, but I'll hold one of those signs."
Right.
And so I
Did it say fascism at that time?
no, it did not.
Okay.
But that's why they developed.
Yeah, of
that's why
course.
Refuse Fascism developed,
Right.
was because they saw
Yeah. What was
fascism coming.
Yeah.
So I started making a small monthly donation. Biden came into office shortly thereafter,
Yeah.
and things kind of died down.
Right.
So I kind of went my own way.
Yeah.
In February of this year,
Yeah.
I went with some friends to the Boston Common
Okay.
to protest.
Yeah. We were there on April 5th.
Yep.
And so forth. Yeah.
Well, this was in
Before
February.
that,
In
yeah,
February,
February, yeah.
President's Day.
Oh.
No King's
the
Day.
other one.
The first No
Yeah.
King's Day, I think.
Okay.
And so I was there with friends,
Yeah.
and I went down onto the Common. We were up at the State House,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. you
completely
walked down.
blocking the sidewalks. So
Okay.
someone said, "Yeah, let's move on into the Common."
How many people do you think were there?
I would say 1,000 people, but I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
It was a mob scene,
Yeah.
and it was a march too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
To
I don't know that was planned.
To City Hall Plaza? Or
Yeah,
what? Okay.
to City Hall Plaza and then
Yeah.
across to
Faneuil.
Faneuil Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I walked down with my friends to on the pathway in the Boston Common. And I say
Yeah.
the pathway because there was snow and ice on the
Oh,
sides.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm walking down, and I kind of separated from my friends, and we're all chanting. And then I saw the sign. I saw the banner.
Oh, this particular thing? Yeah.
Yeah. The
And what was
Trump-
your first thought?
I beelined it for
Yeah.
them because I made friends with Scott,
Yeah.
several years before, and I said these are my people,
Yeah.
and they know what's happening. So
Yeah.
I went over and I chatted with Scott. Someone asked if I could hold one side of the banner for a minute while they did something, and I said sure. I held the banner and I didn't let go until hours later, after our chanting
Had
in
finished?
the snow to this huge crowd,
Yeah.
and then marching down to
To
City Hall
City Hall
Plaza,
Plaza, yeah.
holding it there for a half hour or so before we marched over to Faneuil Hall Marketplace, holding it there for a while longer, and then
Well, that's a great initiation,
it was.
George. I mean, and like doing it in Boston where it's cold and it's snowy and, it sort of like reminds you probably of a little bit of history of this area, right?
Yeah.
A lot of resistance and so forth, right?
Yeah.
The other thing besides fascism is kleptocracy. The kleptocracy. I mean, it's incredible that the jet plane, the thing about the cryptocurrency, the gathering. You heard about that?
Yeah,
right?
pouring millions of dollars into Trump's pockets and his family.
Yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, and then the fact that people can't, put this all together and say this is total. We've never had this.
Speculation, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea of having complete, total control. And then, of course, attacking universities, of course, part of that, and attacking the press. What are some of the other things that you're most, well, I'm really most pissed off about immigration, about attacking immigrants. That's one of the things.
I remember that quote when he said, "The immigrants are poisoning our blood."
Oh, yeah.
That's straight out of Hitler's playbook.
Yeah, that's right.
And this focus on the genes, repeatedly Trump talks about we have good genes.
Oh,
That's
does
what
he
makes
still
us
say that?
special. Oh, yeah. So
And then the thing with
this
the
is a
Afrikaners,
big
right?
indication, yeah.
The Afrikaners.
The open racism,
Yeah.
the being proud about grabbing women in their private parts, this open misogyny.
Yeah.
These are all telltale signs. There's always been greedy politicians and oligarchs in America. Even the Democrats are part of that. But there's something specific about Trump and bringing forward this, especially these religious zealots were kind of his hardcore base of these Christian fundamentalist zealots.
Right. A Christian nationalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though he's the most
he's not.
cretinistic guy in the world, but they've grabbed him as their icon to lead them to the promised land, so to speak.
least.
Yeah, to get that in their agenda.
And you heard about all the merchandise. Yeah. The merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like everything. Trump Bibles, Trump everything. There's nothing he hasn't exploited, right? So what's the future? What do you think the best possibility? Let's say best case scenario and then worst case scenario.
Best case
Start with
scenario,
best.
we drive the Trump fascist regime out of office.
Okay.
Well, here's a telling comment. You remember this Pastor Niemoller, the pastor from Germany, made that famous quote, "First they came for this
Oh,
one."
yeah.
Well,
Pastor Niemoller.
first. But he also made another quote. He said, "We could have stopped Hitler if we stood up to him in the early years.
Yeah.
Maybe 30,000 of us would have died trying to stop him, but we would have saved millions."
Oh, he did say that too.
He said that. That wasn't as highly quoted.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks this moment. Without
sure.
a certain element of sacrifice by millions,
That's right.
we're not going to be able to push Trump out and,
That's right.
and
So
secure
we
a
have-
future.
So we have to go farther?
Yeah, I'm not saying we have to all get killed, but we
Yeah.
have to put our bodies out there
Yeah.
in nonviolent civil disobedience
I
to stop
agree.
him in the millions. And right now, we're not seeing enough of that. We're
Do
seeing
you think it's close?
Well, some people got to break out of their comfort zones. This is a big thing in America. Everybody has their comfort zones.
Yeah.
I'll do this, but I won't do anything that jeopardizes my personal safety.
yeah,
And that may be the undoing of this whole thing.
Yeah.
If we're not willing to put ourselves out there, risk arrest, like Martin Luther King used to say, let's fill the jails because this is so
yeah,
important.
yeah.
And people followed that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody say that around Trump. Let's fill the
true.
jails to stop Trump, but we need to get to that level.
That's true.
Nonviolent disobedience
Well, I mean, the
on
thing
a massive
is,
scale.
the people who are going to be most militant or most good about this, or most following through, are the people who have less to lose. The people who are not wealthy, who don't
Yeah.
have a lot of assets, who are not tied up with the system. But people who have a lot to lose tend to be very cautious about that. What do you think?
I agree,
Yeah.
but I want to bring up another point.
Yeah.
Today is the 5th anniversary of George Floyd getting murdered
Was
in
it
the
today?
street.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it was yesterday. I mean,
Yeah. This is the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So when that happened, tens of millions. So
Came out.
there was an estimate that I read: 15 to
Yeah,
25
it was
million people
very
were in
inspiring.
the streets across the country.
Gotcha, yeah.
That's what we need
Yeah.
again, at least.
Yeah.
And I think there are more than that would gladly
Yeah.
do that. And we've had protests where we've had 3 million people across the country. In
Oh,
the
you mean
streets.
since then?
Yeah.
Well, and then the one coming up June 14th.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been a day after day thing so far.
I know.
It's got to be day after day
Today,
until
today.
our message has the impact of pushing them back and pushing them out.
And what would be the most symbolic in this area? I mean, we don't have the U.S. Capitol. We don't have the White House. In this area, what would be the most symbolic place to show our... I don't know.
Maybe if we have a financial district, we could close down the financial district.
That's true. And Tesla, there've been stuff in a Tesla dealership.
Yeah, multiple Teslas. There's
That's
the one
true.
in Boston. There's
Yeah.
every week, every Saturday, there's a
There's been-
Tesla
yeah,
takedown.
yeah.
Watertown, same thing.
Right, I went to the Watertown
Yeah.
once, yeah. I mean, and apparently, what's his name? Musk is sort of not that active right now. or something?
I think he had to go back with his tail between his legs to Tesla and try and,
Good.
try
Save
and
it?
make it, save it.
Save Tesla.
Yeah,
Good.
as if him being part of it is going to make that better for Tesla. I just don't understand. He's just not that bright, I guess.
Yeah, and what is he taking? They said that he's on ketamine or something?
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
doing
yeah.
ketamine?
Yeah, I know.
Well, I really appreciate you guys because we do need to have visibility.
Yeah.
And I've been carrying strange signs, not strange, like very outward type signs. I had one that said, Trump, T was for tyrant, R was for, what was R for, Shay? U was for unfit,
Yeah.
M was for molester, and P was for pathological. Can't remember the other one. But, it's just a racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, tyrant, racist, unfit. So we've never, we've all, you guys are a little younger than me, but we've never lived in this situation. Even like Nixon, I mean, he makes Nixon look good in a way.
Yeah.
He makes Nixon look good, right?
Sadly.
Because this is it's on so many fronts.
Yeah.
It's on so many fronts.
We can't forget, this guy has the nuclear
Yeah, I know.
arsenal.
I know.
It's insane. This guy is insane.
I know.
And he has control over
I know. Our world, our life, our world.
And he has half of the elite on his side, too. It's not even just him. It's a
No,
major
I know.
split within the ruling circles of
No,
America.
I know. That's what I mean. I know.
It's like before the first Civil War. It's that
Yeah,
serious
no,
of polarization
Yeah, it
among
does
the
look
elites.
like it does look like that. It really does. Yeah, you know about the doomsday clock?
Yeah.
You know about that?
How many seconds do we have
Yeah,
left?
I think they said 90 or something.
Oh, my
I know.
So we're
And
coming
then-
up to this Harvard graduation. It makes a difference what happens at this graduation, what kind of statements made by the
Oh, yeah, well, who's
seniors
gonna-
and by the college.
Oh, okay. Who's going to speak? Do they say?
I know the day before it's going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar speaking at Class Day. I'm
Oh.
interested to see what he's going to say. 'Cause he goes back to the 60s
Yeah, I
generation.
remember him.
On the day
Yeah.
itself, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
the students need to make a statement.
Definitely.
And we'll see. We're
Yeah.
going to be out there representing for our cause. I don't know
We'll
if you're
find-
around that day. It's this
We're-
Thursday.
We got to do it. We got to do it, Johannes. And and I really support the international students. of
Yeah,
course.
it's a major,
Yeah.
major assault on it.
So your name is George?
Frank.
Frank. Okay.
I'm George.
George. Okay. I'm Johnny. I gave you guys this
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. Johnny?
Okay. Johnny. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Pleasure to meet you.
Check it
I
out.
think
I think I've seen you.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been destroying Harvard Square. I don't know. We've
Keep up the good work.
We've been interrupting Harvard Square.
No, good.
Keep up the good
doing
work.
it.
Thank you
Need
so
some
much.
Serious
Thank you,
intervention.
Frank.
Thank you. Take
Yeah.
care.
Take care, man. Okay. Bye bye. Good luck, man.